Go away. Hi, everybody. It's Terry Wildman. Whoops, and my screen just went away. One more time. Hi, everybody. It's Terry Wildman with Intuitive Leadership and Shiftology. I am here today with some amazing people. Eventually, we're going to have two more join us. And Cherie and Lois and MarBeth are Shift Maestros for Shiftology Retreat, which is coming up on January 29th to the 31st. Together with Cherie, Lois, MarBeth, Carol, who will be coming a little bit later on, and Laura, we have over 200 years of entrepreneurship and wisdom behind us. That is just an amazing thing to know that this amount of wisdom is in this room. So the purpose of today is to have the Shift Maestros share with you a little bit about themselves, their backgrounds, and a specific topic that they're going to be sharing at the retreat. As I mentioned, I'm Terry Wildman, and the reason why I'm doing this is because it's part of Intuitive Leadership University. Everything that I teach is a process, and Shiftology is the process where entrepreneurs become intuitive leaders become practical business mystics, and practical business mystics become shiftologists. This did not happen overnight. It happened over a long period of time, but it's time to get this information out to the world, and that is what we are doing. So I am so thrilled that you are here today, and I'm thrilled that you're going to be hearing from these amazing maestros. So I'm going to go to round robin here, and Cherie, I would love to start with you.
Start with me? Okay. Well, it's great to be back here. It's my pleasure to be a part of this amazing group of thought leaders and thought shifters, I guess is a good way to put it. And what I'm all about is helping businesses scale and helping you as a business owner make decisions and strategically think in a way that you may have never thought before. I've been doing it for over 35 years. I'm really aging myself, but I'm proud of it. And really, I think more than ever before, people have felt like they haven't been able to have any momentum at all, and yet you can still have momentum in even the most challenging of times if you know how to make decisions in a momentum building way. And so that's what I'm going to be focusing on. And I'm very excited to bring this to you. It's about both looking inside yourself to make decisions, as well as understanding key best practices to make decisions. So it's a combination. It's that beautiful art and science aspect of being an entrepreneur unlike any way you've been before. So
Cherie, tell us a little bit more about how you got involved in being the Biz Growth Maestro.
Okay. Well, I like to say that I was a reluctant entrepreneur myself. I started my company right out of college, not knowing anything. And so the one thing that I knew I had to do was go back to school to learn how to run a business. And it was while I was learning how to run my own business that I had this big aha with my entrepreneurial and small business clients, because they assumed I knew how to run a business, and they assumed that I knew how to market and operate because of the skill sets that I did have. And I was honest enough to say, no, I'm back in school learning how to do this. And then they said, well, will you teach us how to do it? And that's when the big light bulb went off, that my mission was to create better, more effective business owners. And that was way back in the 1980s. And so everything that I've done since then with my company and my expertise is to always see how I can help entrepreneurs level up their know-how, their knowledge of how to grow and build a business better than ever before. And to be successful, to succeed in business, not just to run a business, but to succeed in business.
So Cherie, one of the areas that you're going to be specializing in, it is decision making. Can you share with us some decision-making tips that you're going to be sharing at the event also, but today that people can walk away from this knowing one really important tip that they can use immediately?
Well, one very important tip to use immediately in decision making is to get at the core values of yourself. You can eliminate a lot of options simply by sitting with, is this decision in alignment with my core values as a business owner? And so that's one of many things. And then another thing that feeds into that, because your values help create real meaningfulness to everything that you do, right? So
Yes.
your goals too. I'm gonna deep dive even more at the retreat into a different way of setting, viewing, and approaching your goals that really help. Sometimes we're setting goals that we really don't even want to achieve, and then we wonder why we're not achieving them. It's because we're feeling an obligation. It's not in alignment with who we are and what we ultimately want to be. And so there's no momentum in that, right? Because there's no passion in that. So these are just some of the things you start to see how the inner you impacts the outer you in how you are approaching achievement.
Got it. So what got you into this space where you are integrating so much about what I call the inward journey into what it is that you are doing?
Well, because I had epiphany, I guess it's probably 22 years ago when I was pregnant with my youngest daughter, running a business, that the whole work-life balance didn't work. And that's when I came up with the idea of the me, myself, and Inc. and honoring all aspects of the individual, and not only applied it to myself, but started applying it to my entrepreneurial clients, and saw just amazing things happen when it went from looking at everything outside to really trying to honor the three aspects of who you are as an entrepreneur, the one that you share with everyone else, the one that's you unlike anybody else, and the one that is you that gets things done. That all of a sudden, and so I changed the way I did my goals, I changed the way I looked at values, and then of course I applied that to my clients and saw amazing things happen as a result. So I'm always my guinea pig. I really do practice what I preach. I won't put out anything that's not been proven, validated, and that I know it works because I use it myself. So, and I think that says a lot about it's one thing to teach, but it's another thing to do, right? And to be that doer along with that teacher, there's some real gratification in that.
Brilliant. So I'm curious. One of the things that entrepreneurs tend to do is they tend to do everything on their own.
Mm-hmm.
However, asking help is actually a strength. It is not a weakness. So how has coaching helped you in your business?
Well, for me, it's helped me in many ways. It's helped me from the standpoint of getting out of my own head, right? We all have those moments where we can be too close to something and just need to be able to take that step back and get that different perspective to help us see what we're not seeing. One of my favorite sayings I've said before is discovery is seeing what everyone else is seeing, but thinking what no one else has thought. And sometimes if you are blinded by where you think you need to go and you're not looking at where the opportunities really are, you need somebody to help guide you in the way you're thinking to not miss those opportunities or to not miss an insight that could be what's really the stumbling block when you think it's something else.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing, Sheree. That was absolutely great. Because a lot of people think, oh, I can do this on my own. I don't need a coach. I don't need a mentor. And all I know is I wouldn't be where I am if it weren't for my coaches and my mentors.
Well, and for me, I have become so impassioned to be a mentor and to help others because in the very early years of my business, I did do a lot of it alone. I had to figure a lot of it out. And I think that is why I'm so impassioned to not just do, but teach. It's really important. Nothing is more gratifying. It's almost like when you push that, birdie out of the nest, so to speak, when you see the success that they are realizing on their own because you helped them get there. That is so gratifying.
It really, really is. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Shireen. You're going to be chiming in as the rest of us share a little bit more about ourselves. So, Coach Lois, tell us about you. And this is the Sales Maestro. I know that a lot of people are here because they want to learn about sales. So, tell me about how you got into sales.
Well, I love it. Thank you so much. I'm really honored to be here with you amazing women. And I know I'm one of the newest additions. And so I'm very humbled to be able to share that I started in sales at a very young age. Some people tease me when they see me. Apparently, I look younger than I am. And I started when I was 21, so I looked like I was 10. And even in spite of that, and fresh out of college, having no experience, I was able to naturally use my sales born given talents and was able to make 6 figures. And I've sold in 4 different industries and have done equally well in all of them. And really just a few years ago, people are always like, Lois, how do you do it? So I created my own sales formula methodology process and discovered that everybody's in sales. And yet there's a lot of people who are afraid of that word. In fact, it's a swear word to a lot of people. And they're like, oh, no, I'm not a salesperson. And I cringe when I hear that, because in my world, in my universe, and that's how you and I connected, Terry, for me, sales is a spiritual calling. It's you're out there, your passion, whatever it is that you do, and you find people who have a need, and you have the ability to fill that need, and you work together. You have this exchange of energy called money, or some people barter, or there's some people exchange time and talents. It's not just about money, but you can even give away free gifts. And that's part of what I've learned and having to learn, coming from old school sales, right? The face-to-face, belly-to-belly variety that we all probably grew up with and were used to before the internet. And, not to date myself, but when I started in real estate back when I was 21, I barely had a cell phone. I didn't text message. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have social media. I was a smile and dial kind of gal. I loved the phone. No fear of, cold calling here. I'm kind of weird like that. But really being able to help people understand that you have a spiritual calling and you can go from offline sales to online sales if you're really grounded and clear that you have value, you have a mission and a message. But I will say there's a lot of people struggling right now with this new normal of online sales. Last year, I hired a couple coaches. I started a podcast. I learned about how to embrace the Facebook, or, building a tribe, building an audience, and having them fall in love with you and get into your email campaign and open your emails and actually want to open them and actually want to buy your stuff. So I teach list building courses. I teach about spiritual sales through that process and how to really be your authentic self and not feel like a used car sales, pushy salesperson, even in this new normal. So it's a little bit about me.
Well, Lois, I love what you said right at the very beginning around the whole passion side of it, because every entrepreneur is a salesperson, whether they want to be or not. I mean, in order for them, and I've always said that you have to think strategically. It's not you're selling you're selling what you bring that is so valuable. And so that whole that value aspect, and that it's almost it's a privilege and such an opportunity, and changing that mindset from, oh, I don't want it. But again, because you hear all the time pushy salespeople, that's what's turned that industry into such a negative when there's such an opportunity. So it's great to have you reformulating that in a way that entrepreneurs can really embrace.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm curious, what do you say to people when they say to you, no, sales, it's a 4-letter word?
Well, I might ask them, and these are kind of very basic questions, but, are you married? Guess what? you had to sell yourself to your spouse or your life partner, you know, even if you're not married. Are you dating? You know, you're going out there into the marketplace trying to connect with that potential someone, that special someone. You had to believe in yourself enough to go out and find them, right? You had to do that whole courtship dance. You know, if you have kids, they're the ultimate salespeople, right? Like, mommy, I want the popsicle, right? You know, think about when you were a kid, you wanted to go out and make friends and say, hey, do you want to come over and play with me? And to me, that's what selling is. It's relationships, it's human connection. It's how can we, you know, work together for the greater good, love one another, serve one another. So when I break it down to that simplest, purest form, they're like, oh yeah, yeah, you know, it's very basic, but I hope that makes sense, that it's not a bad word, and it's about service.
I love that. I love that you're just opening up to share that there's another way we can look at it. And I always find that when you shift your perspective and you start to see things from a whole different aspect, you're opening yourself to new possibilities. So it's a wonderful thing.
Well, and I wonder too, do you address, I'm curious, Lois, do you address the aspect of when people feel like that sales is such a bad word, that gets projected when they're trying to sell, right? Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's a fascinating thing, because if they're like this, man, that body language and everything they're doing probably is coming across that's negating any effort they're trying to make.
100%. I can almost predict their income when they say that, oh, I'm not a salesperson, you know, because then they have, they project that energy. They might have call reluctance, or what I call lead generation or prospecting reluctance, you know, bringing people into their pipeline, again, their tribe, their community. How are they going to serve? I almost guarantee that they're not getting to the point where if it takes 5 to 12 contacts to close the sale, right? And that's pretty universal over anything I've ever sold in my life. They're not getting to the ask, A-S-K. They're afraid to ask for the sale because they feel like, oh, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to impose my will. And they're not thinking it from a logical standpoint of, are they asking questions to see if there's a possibility to fill a need that person has? Because guess what? If you don't, someone else is going to find them, and they might be that bad, quote unquote, salesperson and not be the right match for them. So you're doing yourself and the world a disservice when you fear that word sales. You're limiting your income. You're putting a lid or a cap on what's possible. And let's face it, you won't be living your best life because you'll always have that fear that is being radiated out there. And that's actually what causes a bad sales experience at the end of the day, because you might feel like, oh, maybe I did push, and it just holds you back from being authentic.
Well, that's why it's shiftology, because we're shifting, shifting our perspectives.
We are shifting perspectives.
We're shifting our perspectives and our views and our thoughts so that we can create a whole different version of ourselves that's more empowered and more engaging and more prosperous.
Yeah, sales is supposed to be fun. Sales is supposed to be fun. And that's one thing that people, I think, are missing out on, is they're so worried about the money or making the money, paying the bills, and they're not focusing on kind of what you were talking about, Cherie, is that inner journey of what am I really here for? What is my purpose on this planet? Am I pursuing that? And, you know, maybe instead of settling for, most people, if they can't make it in sales, right, what do? They go get a job, a job, and they're not happy there either, you know, and then you're depressed, you're on pharmaceuticals, you can't be the best mom, wife, dad, brother, sister. It's a vicious cycle. And so that's why I believe I was born, was to help shiftology, shift that paradigm and help people fall in love with themselves and fall in love with sales and that process that gets them to unlimited income.
Well, and the other aspect of sales is, you know, and this gets at momentum building decision making. It's a lot. I've always believed you're not trying to convince someone to do business with you. You're trying to attract them, get them excited about doing business with you or buying you or purchasing from you or whatever it might be. And there's a huge difference there. So having that understanding of who you are better to serve than anybody else, is so absolutely critical. That goes to your value aspect, because then when you put that sales hat on, it's like you know them from the inside out. I mean, I think the greatest compliment is someone to say, wow, it's like you're inside my head, you know me so well, right? So, and I think that's the relationship side of sales, is taking the time to really know who you're serving as much as you want them to know you.
100%.
And, that's one thing that you brought up, and Lois, you brought it up also. And this is a lot of amazing about
It's
that.
very loud noise.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on.
I don't know what that is. We'll mute it off for a moment. Oh, okay. Can you hear me? Okay. What I'll do is, if you just put your hand up when you want to talk, and then I'll unmute you. How's that? God, I did not want to do that. Anyway, Lois, one of the things that you brought up and Cherie brought up, sales is all about relationships. And one of the things that I'm noticing, that a big mistake that a lot of people are doing specifically, and this is one specific platform, I friend somebody or accept somebody's request, and the next thing they do is, instead of creating a relationship, they immediately hit you over the head with, this is my product, buy my product, blah, 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 blah. And I've written back to them and I've actually said, I don't know who you are. You have not created any trust with me. You're not going to get anywhere with me. I haven't said that, but I basically have said, I'm sorry. I don't know who you are. I don't know anything about you, and you're trying to sell me right out the gate. I did just say that this week. So I'm curious about your perspective.
Yeah, actually, if you can refer those people to me, I would love to talk to them. Because you know what? I used to be offended by that too, but now I gamify it. I'm like, oh, hey, how's that approach working for you? Tell me more. Because unfortunately, and it happened more for me because of the pandemic last year, and I understand it, it's scarcity. It is cold calling, although I was really good at cold calling because I just followed my 4 steps of selling process methodology, and it was all about relationships and, serving, and not the, hey, I'm going to hit you with the jugular with my product or service, right? I go back with empathy. And I'll say, hey, you know what? I'm guessing that approach isn't working for you, or is it? Tell me more, because they just don't know what they don't know. They haven't been properly trained, and that's part of my paradigm that I want to bring to the table. Is they're coming from a place probably of fear, lack. They maybe they lost their job and they have to figure out how to pay their mortgage this month. So they're just going straight at people with their links, their join my team, buy my stuff crap. And it's unfortunate. However, I have a sense that that's where it's coming from. There's more to this story, and or they're just ignorant and it's not really that good, but they need help. They need to be properly trained and supported, and hopefully shift that paradigm. So that's been my experience and my perspective. And there's such a lack of really proper sales and training out there. So, oops, I think you're still muted. There you go.
That, because there are a lot of folks who I've spoken with lately who have really responded similarly to the way I was when it comes to sales. And I agree with you 100%. There's always something behind that. It could be a boss who is pushing them to do it that way. The lack of proper training. And oftentimes it's about a lack of understanding that the relationship has to come first, and they're impatient. Their impatience, and that impatience is what gets them into trouble. So I'm going to look forward to hearing more about all of this at the retreat from you. Now, if you haven't noticed, folks, all of us so far have talked about emotions. We've all mentioned the word spirituality. We've all talked about different, the softer side of being an entrepreneur. Everything that we do at Intuitive Leadership and with Shiftology is integrate the practical, the tactical, and the logical with the emotional, the energetic, the spiritual, and the intuitive. I'm going to say a phrase. What sunk the Titanic is what was unseen. So if from here up, which is above water, this is the practical, tactical, and logical sides of ourselves. From here down is the emotional, the energetic, the intuitive, and the spiritual side of ourselves. The goal is to integrate it all so that it can all be seen. And our next shift maestro is a master at talking about integrating spirituality and intuition with our work. So welcome, MarBeth, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say about this.
Am I unmuted?
You are unmuted.
Right. So thank you, Terry. I have just really been enjoying this because I know Cherie a little bit, and I hadn't met Lois before, and I totally love Terry. And I love the fact that we can all work together like different pieces of a puzzle to create the whole enchilada. I don't know if that was a mixed metaphor, but I love to work with entrepreneurs who are stuck, who are out of sync, who are unhappy. And we're just, let's face it, we're all complex, multi-dimensional beings. And in order to thrive and function, we really need to have every part of us in alignment, and we need to be clear. And really that's where I come in, because as an intuitive energy management maven, I pinpoint the hidden issues that are, like Terry was saying, you know, from here up, you know, there is the tip of the iceberg, but from here down, there's a whole other, a whole other thing. And so I work with the hidden issues that are holding you back from your greatest successes. And I have a proprietary miracle breakthrough system that will help you to access greater confidence and alignment and financial success and emotional freedom and peace of mind. Peace of mind is crucial. When you're agitated, when you are angry, when you are just out of alignment, you're feeling like something is off, you're less likely to really achieve what you desire. It's when you clear out these issues. As complex, energetic beings, we are made of energy, and that energy gets blocked. It gets blocked when we're holding on to anger. It's holding on to past traumas, when we're holding on to feelings of victimhood. All of these things get stuck in our being, and they hold us back from our greatest successes. So, and that's really what I like to do. And I've worked with helping people to achieve their focus and to really move into becoming your greater self. Because I truly believe that we are limitless beings and that we're here to serve others. Every one of us has a particular gift that we have to share with others that can help other people. And I know that you do. I know that you do. And so if you're feeling blocked or trapped, or there's something holding you back, we all have it. I know that I have it. And, you know, these issues that come up, and they need to be cleared. And once you do, you clear them, then bada bing, bada bang, you are there. And you can start to function in a whole different level. It's really beautiful.
You know, MarBeth, when you were talking, I had to raise my hand because it made me think of a moment. And it made me also think of what Lois said about there's a fear, or there's this pressure. And so it made me think of a moment I was probably in my late 20s. And it's when I first started my company. So I had this one client that was like 40% of my sales at the time, but it was a very toxic client and a very negative energy. And I finally just decided it was not worth it and fired that client. And I was scared to death. It was 40% of my business. And within a 30 to 45 day period, that client got replaced significantly by letting that go. And that was such an amazing experience for me at a very young age. To experience that, to finally say, you know what, no, I deserve, I don't deserve to be in this situation, and the money will come, the opportunities will come, and boy, did they. And so but when there's that fear, when there's that pressure, when again it goes to that outside influencing us, right?
You have to be in alignment with who you are, and if you are not, and if you're being bullied or you're afraid for economic reasons to cut those ties, you're not going to be able to grow into this bigger self. They're there as your teacher. They're saying, okay, here I am. Here's an opportunity for you to make a choice. You can either hold on out of fear and stay small, or you can let this go. And you can grow into someone bigger, someone more empowered to make the right decisions, listening to your heart. It's a beautiful thing.
That's so powerful. You're making me think of a book that I've been referring to salespeople is, have you ever read The Untethered Soul? It's over there, Untethered Soul. That's so powerful, by Mickey Singer, because, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I never usually bring this up in a conversation, but I think a lot of people, they learn quote unquote sales from like the religious and political realms, where it's push, here's my agenda, believe this. And you lose sight of all that. At least for me, growing up, a lot of scarcity that I might have had came from that, do as I say, just, my way or the highway, this is the way it is, just deal with it kind of mentality that kind of squashes our chi or chakras, all of the things that I'm assuming you talk about a little bit with healing and energy healing. Am I right? I don't want to make up on the...
I touch on a lot of different subjects.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. We all about that. Every single one of us talk about that. So, very good company. It is conversation, and we are together.
You're breaking up, Terry. I can't really hear what you just said.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So, Lois, it's common conversation what we talk about when we say all that. Whether it's chakras, energy, whatever. I think all of us here are Reiki masters. I believe we all do EFT. No, you're not. Okay, Sheree. I know MarBeth and I are both Reiki masters. MarBeth does amazing energy healing. I do emotion code, body code, and Reiki and NLP. And Sheree, you do NLP, right? I believe you do some NLP. Yes. And Sheree and I will be talking, and we'll be pulling out our pendulums. Let's see what our pendulums are.
Well, I've got mine too.
We have a business decision with pendulums. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Just so you know, it makes me really happy because there's a holistic side of every being, right? We're spiritual beings having this human experience. And that's where I find in business, people, if they don't understand that, that's what holds them back. So that's awesome. MarBeth, I'm excited to hear and learn more from you.
Well, we're going to have a lot of fun with it. The important thing is that we stay into a light place where things don't get too heavy and don't get too weighed down. We find that we're so much more expansive when we're light, when we're in a fun place. Spirituality, energy, healing doesn't have to be heavy. And I find, with the techniques that we have, you can release things. I always make sure that everyone is safe. Safety first. That's so important, because so many times I've been there when you're... when many years ago, when I was in my beginning of my healing journey, I would try to push through things that weren't safe for me to push through. And I'd try to barrel through, and I'd end up with these huge asthma attacks because I wasn't listening to myself. And when I work with people, I always ask intuitively, is this safe? And if it isn't, we don't go there. Everything has to be aligned for the person that I'm working with or the group that I'm working with. Very, very important. Oh, Terry, you're muted.
Okay, MarBeth, how long have you been doing this work?
Well, I would say about 15, 16 years, 17 years now.
Excellent. Doreen, how long have you been doing your work?
I've been doing mine for about 36 years.
36 years. Lois?
I started sales training at 25, so not quite 20 years of official, actually sales training and coaching in that capacity.
Okay, and I've been doing mine for 33 years. And our other two, well, actually, what I'm doing today is 33 years, but before that, marketing since 18, and sales and marketing since 18. So, and we don't have Carol yet or Laura here.
But I'm sorry to interrupt, but actually I've been a spiritual teacher for over 35 years.
Well, that's what I thought, MarBeth. So I was a little surprised when he's only 16.
I'm thinking the energy training started, about 17 years ago. But I've been a spiritual teacher for a lot longer. That's all that.
Yeah, you've been a spiritual teacher for a long time. So when Laura and Carol come in, we're going to have a couple leaving and a couple coming in at 4 o'clock. The expansion continues. So one of the things that brought us together was the Shiftology Business Retreat. So I'd like to ask each of you, what is your number one goal with what it is that you will be teaching at the retreat that folks will get from attending? And whoever wants to pipe in.
I'll go ahead and pipe in. When you asked what topic, I got very passionate about the momentum building decision making, and it's because I've seen such a difference it makes. And so my number one goal is that through the techniques and the process and the insights that I am going to help people become more confident in their decisions, that they're going to have an understanding of how powerful their decisions and their choices are when it comes to scaling and growing their business, and what they can do to hone in on better decision making. So I feel like I'm going to raise their level of confidence, which is very exciting for me.
Very, very nice. What about you, Lois?
Gosh, one thing, huh? You got to make.
Oh, you can do a couple.
Well, I sort of already touched on it. I want to shift the paradigm around sales in this new normal. So my signature topic is list building to freedom, how to find your voice, build your tribe online in an authentic way. It's not just about having 5,000 friends on Facebook and losing yourself in social media, which is a total time suck. And I think there's ways to do it that are healthy and balanced for you. But then to believe so much so that you have value and your voice can be heard. And this megaphone, which in my universe now as a salesperson online is an email list. How can people create 4 to 5 figures a month through their tribe, through their email list, and believe in themselves enough to do so, if that makes sense?
It's going to be a lot of fun. And MarBeth, what would you like to, what is your intention?
What I heard when you asked the question was alignment, to be in alignment with who we are and to work from that inner trust in ourselves and who we are so that we can actually be stronger, more confident, more successful. That's so crucial.
Mm-hmm. It is. One word that Cherie said is confidence. And I'm going to add a phrase that I use and to bring in what you just spoke about, MarBeth. My goal for the retreat, and when I created this, by the way, this was divinely guided. Shiftology, everything. I have revitalized the website, everything. And MarBeth knows this because she's been putting up with me for 5 months. Together. It's about having business owners, entrepreneurs evolve into confident, competent, congruent leaders. Competence, credible. I forgot my credible. Competence, credibility, and congruence. And when you're congruent, you are integrated. And when you look, folks, at these women who are here with me and the next two that are going to be coming in, there is opportunity for congruence here to elevate your business, to evolve your business in a way, in a manner that a lot of folks aren't getting in other programs. Now, about the word evolve, is it about evolve? It is, because if you look at the word evolve, the word love is in there. LOVE. Take off the VE. There's love backwards. Evolve is about loving yourself. Evolve is about loving your business. Evolve is about loving the service that you're giving to others. Evolve is about stepping into your calling. And that calling and that love and that evolvement from the inside out. This is the inward journey, folks. This is the inward journey to take you from entrepreneurship to intuitive leadership. What that does is allows you to be the person and to serve the people who you are meant to serve in this lifetime. And we are here to help you do that. So, ladies, I would love to hear more about what your thoughts are on what I just spoke about.
I think it was fantastic. I mean, that I love the evolve and the love and the confidence, competence, because that's what this world needs, is people who feel loved and want to serve and feel confident and competent. I think, when you think of the suicide rate and depression and anxiety, a lot of mental health, mental illness comes from the lack of the things that you just said. So I'm super excited about that.
And that phrase I have been using for over 33 years. Everything about entrepreneurship is about the confidence, credibility, and congruent. And that's when I started as an image consultant. Because as an image consultant, I was teaching people about the outside part of themselves and then presenting the outside part in a confident, credible way. It was later on that I started to get involved with the inside part of it, because that's the part that was missing in those days. It wasn't a good thing to go into that inside part. It was, remember the days when people would say, leave your emotions at the door. We don't want that stuff. Well, guess what? Your emotions are your drivers. And what I say is, bring your emotions with you, because they're necessary to drive the practical, tactical, and the logical. Leave the drama at the door. Leave the drama at the door. Leave that out there. You can leave that for the telenovelas, the soap operas.
Well,
with you.
I've got to add to that, because when I hear those four, to me the most powerful word that brings it all together is the word congruent. And the first word that came to mind with that is authenticity, because I think we talked in another conversation about how ego can actually make you make poor decisions. And so when you really get in tune with who you are, so when you look at confidence and competency and credibility, and they are all congruent with who you truly are and who you are meant to be, and you're truly authentic in what you are bringing to the table, you can't help but be credible. You can't help but be viewed as competent, and as a result, your confidence is it's not an ego thing. It is a servant leadership aspect of it. And people want, they want to be around you. They want to learn from you. They want to buy from you because of that authenticity. So I think that is another thing that I think we're all very passionate about, is there's a real difference between the ego aspect and that intuitive, who you were meant to be. And if you allow that to guide you, you're actually going to have greater success.
Absolutely. When you are in alignment with your guidance, the intuitive guidance that you're receiving, it's not necessarily, you can be up here in your head and thinking, well, I've got to do this and I should do that and I have to do that. but it's not necessarily. I find that very often my intuition will tell me something that is completely off the wall. And I always know it's right. Because when I trust, and I do trust it every time, I get that off the wall hit, I follow it, and it's always right. Always right. And it's like, why are you doing that? I don't know, but I was guided to do this, and it works.
It does. And MarBeth, I shared this story earlier today, and I was teaching a law of attraction class, and you just triggered for me to tell this story again about the necessity of integrating all of it and listening to your intuition. We were car shopping, and this was, let's see, so you're talking 2010. My husband totaled the car, and so we needed to look for, we wanted a new minivan. We knew it was either going to be a Toyota or a Honda, the minivan. Hey, I'm a minivan queen. And we had 2 kids in college, so it's like, we're in trouble here. So anyway, all weekend we searched for what we wanted, and I dropped my husband off at the airport on Monday. And on the way back to the house, I kept getting prodded and hearing, talk about listening to intuition, prodded and listening. And I'm having a field day argument with my guys going, why do you want me to go to this specific car dealership? They're all high-end cars. Why do you want me to go here? And I'm fighting on the way home. And I'm like, okay, I better listen. I should know better by now. And I did. And I pulled into this car dealership. And of course, it was the Porsche, the Lexus, the Maserati. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm going to find a minivan. And I drove around the back of the Lexus dealership. And there was a red Sienna. That was our second color. We were looking at that. And there was a gray Honda Odyssey. And the last words I said to my husband was, I want a gray minivan with a sunroof. So I walked into the Lexus dealership and I said to the guy, I said, look, I want to look at those 2 minivans in the back. He says, we don't have 2 minivans in the back. I go, yeah, you do. I just saw them. And he's like, no. I go, yes, you do. He says, are you sure you don't want a Lexus? No, I don't want a Lexus. So I ended up having to walk around with this guy. He was a young man. And I basically said to him, this is the one and that one. And he said, well, the red Sienna, that's when I learned that Toyota and Lexus were basically the same company. I didn't know that. And he said, that's an employee car. But this one here, I don't know what this is. And I opened the door to it, and there was artwork, kids' artwork on the floor. And he looked at me and he said, this must have just gotten turned in last night. And he brought it around, and I opened the door to drive it, and I looked up, and there was the sunroof. What was the color? It was gray. He handed me a card. He says, if you buy the car right now, let me go see what we can sell it for. He went over, talked to his boss, came back, handed me his business card with the price on it. It was $10,000 under Blue Book. He had no idea what he had. I knew they didn't know what he had. I said, I can't buy it right now. I just put my husband on an airplane to California. I have to wait till he lands. I can't do this. And he was very adamant and very ugly behavior, actually. And I came home, and I looked online, and sure enough, it was listed online. So I called the online manager. I said, this is what happened. We're very interested in this car, but I can't do anything with it until Friday, until my husband gets back. And he says, well, and I said, if it's meant to be there, it'll be there. Sure enough, my husband got off the airplane, drove right to the dealership, drove it, called me and said, we have a car. And the next day, we got a phone call that said, would you be willing to pay $500 over? Because we quoted you cost. And I'm in business. And I said, sure, I don't have a problem with that. So we ended up getting what I call my goddessy at my price. Who would have ever thunk it? Now imagine if I had not listened to my intuition. And to what you were saying, MarBeth, I was being prodded and pushed and pushed and prodded. And if I had gone into my logical head, I would have never gotten that car.
That's right. I totally trust it. You get these totally off the wall hits. I got to do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I shared a situation in our live stream yesterday about we are in instant navigation, right? So we are instantly navigated. And I made a commitment a few years ago. I would always trust my intuition. And so I actually was planning to go. I had some time to kill. I was planning to go to a drugstore to get a few beauty items and things. And they're two really close to each other. And I was going to go to this one because I thought my mascara would be cheaper or something less expensive there. And then I ended up being at the other one. I was in autopilot thinking, and I went to the other one instead. And I almost started pulling out of the, because they were only like maybe 100 yards from each other. And I stopped myself because I wanted to listen to my intuition. And I said, no, you promised yourself you would listen to your intuition guided you here. Who knows? So I went into the drugstore, got what I needed. And when I was walking out of that drugstore, someone I had been trying to reach for several weeks was walking in. And we had a quick conversation. I got an answer that I needed to progress something. And so that's the power of your intuition and your subconscious, and what your intuition is seeing that you're not paying attention to, right? Chances are that person has been in that drugstore many times and I never noticed them. But my intuition knew that that's where they were. And that is just so powerful. So powerful.
It is.
It really is. I'm sorry, MarBeth.
And we discount it. How many times have you met someone and you just felt really uncomfortable with them, but you didn't listen? And what happened?
And that's so applicable to sales. A lot of times salespeople will just work with anyone, right? And I always say there's always that one energy vampire jackass that gets in and sucks the life out of you. And that's not going to serve you or them or the rest of your clients or your family, because your vibration, your energy, it's stressful. So I love that you guys talk about that.
Yeah, well, intuition is huge. And, my book back here, The Enchanted Boardroom, I wrote that in 2016. And there's a chapter in there of, yes, angels belong in business. And I got to tell you, I wrote that chapter. I'll never forget it. I was in San Diego. My daughter was stationed there at the time. And I'm in her living room and I'm writing this chapter. And I was choking. I was so scared to write this chapter about angels in business, that I was going to be judged, that people would think I was a practical nutcase, that on and on and on and on. And I got it out. I wrote the book, and there was still an edge of, oh my gosh, what have I done? Here I am talking about intuition and the angels in business. People are not going to take me credibly. And I knew better than that. I knew it. It was my own fears, because in the past, and this is something that we talk about a lot in whether it's Cherie, whether it's you, Lois, or MarBeth, or Carol, who's going to be coming up, or Laura, who's going to be coming in soon. The thing is that other folks in our world have stomped down and have looked down on us when we go into that practical woo place. That doesn't make sense. That's not logical. That's not practical. On and on. So what happens is we go into a fear place. And when we go into that fear place, what does it do? It compromises everything. MarBeth, to what you're saying, we're out of alignment, are we not?
We are totally out of alignment.
We're out of integrity, are we not, Cherie? Absolutely, we're out of integrity. Lois, we can't make sales. You can't just get yourself out of a paper bag if you're out of alignment with who you are.
Right. Or you just go down the wrong rabbit hole, and then you start hating life because you're not working with the right people and your intentions get skewed and all of that good stuff. And thank you guys. I do have to run, Terry. I apologize.
No, that's okay.
So thank you. It's been awesome.
Thanks for being here, and we will see you at the retreat.
Awesome.
Take care.
Look forward to it.
Take care. Bye-bye.
It's going to be a blast. We're going to have so much fun. So one of the things that the three of us really have in common is the power of our intuition. And I'd like to spend a little bit more time on that, because when we go into that intuitive place and integrate it with the practical, tactical, and logical, I would love for us to have a real solid discussion on the power of intuition and its effect on leadership. So, Cherie, I'd love to start with you on that.
For me, I think you're a much better leader if you are in a place of, if you're in a centered place yourself, right? You need to be in a very centered place in going back to your confidence and competency aspect of it. And also I'm a big believer of asking yourself questions, kind of the why. I actually did a leadership training recently where it was called the 5 whys factor, when you're trying to get an answer. And so you ask yourself the question, why, fast fire, and whatever answer comes out. And sometimes the answer is just so nuts. And so there's an example of this young man who, one of the things that I share in one of my time management workshops is around procrastination. And so I ask everybody in a poll everywhere, how many people hit the snooze button this morning? And probably 80-90% will say they hit the snooze button. And I go, guess what? You started the day procrastinating. and so after that training, this young man wanted to, he was really resonate, came to me later and he said, I really don't want to hit the snooze button, but I'm still hitting it, even though I don't want to. Why am I still doing that? And so I did that 5 why. I go, well, why do you keep hitting it? And I kept asking him over and over again. And so what it ultimately ended up being is that he wanted time to himself at night, and he didn't have time to do it because he had young children and he was allowing them to stay up too late. He and his wife were allowing them to stay up too late. So then what seemed like a problem in the morning was actually something that was happening, but it took him constantly answering that why, and what's the real reason? And to get really deep into why it was really happening. And so all he had to do was get his kids to bed earlier. And then all of a sudden he had time to himself at night. And then he got up earlier. He was happy to get up early. It was transformative for him. And isn't
that amazing how a simple question can change somebody's life?
Yeah, absolutely. And if I can't find something, I always ask, where is it? And then it just appears.
And I can attest, because we have worked together, and I can attest to your magic, MarBeth, because MarBeth and I are on the phone 2 or 3 times a day with doing different things. And here's the thing, I asked a question earlier about coaching. And the thing with coaching is having a trusted advisor to help you is critical to the success that you seek. I know that I can go to Cherie or I can go to MarBeth, and they will assist me to break through a block and vice versa. So it is so important that you have trusted advisors in your world to assist you during those times that you just can't do it yourself. I don't care how many years you've been in the coaching industry. I've been a certified coach since 2000, and actually 11 years this month. Wow. 2000. No, 21.
2011.
No, 2000. 1999. 2000. Wow. Really. 2000. I became certified. Wow. I'm like, whoa. Yeah. And however, I've been in coaching for a very long time. And what I will tell you is this. Any coach who thinks they don't need a coach, do not hire them. The most powerful, effective coaches are those who have coaches, mentors, and people behind them that they too can go to. It is so important to keep that in mind. And that is built into our programs at the Shiftology Retreat. You will be able to answer your questions. You will be able to be served. You will be able to work with these spectacular women in ways that could be incredibly unexpected.
Absolutely. Speaking of unexpected, I'll be sharing some energy techniques that you'll find that will help you become more powerful just by shifting your awareness to different parts of your body. You can just feel yourself being more grounded, more powerful, actually feeling your energy just get bigger. And it's just very simple. And also, I'm an empath, which we didn't really talk about, but I know that there's.
Let's talk about that, because all three of us are empaths. So I would love for you to keep talking about that, MarBeth.
Absolutely. And what I've learned is that when I was coaching, actually, I was connecting with someone in Germany several years ago. And as I started to get his information, I actually have always felt things in my body, but it took me a long time to realize that I was picking up other people's energy. And so I was working with this gentleman in Germany, and I just suddenly, my chest got really tight and heavy. And I realized when I tapped in, oh, he's experiencing grief. He's holding on to grief and sadness. And I wrote it down. This tension in my chest just subsided. And then all of a sudden, my solar plexus just contracted. And it was like, oh, he's got some issues here, relationships that are making him feel very powerless. So I wrote it down. Then I felt a stabbing in my back. And I realized, oh, he's feeling betrayed. And so I went through this whole list that his body was sending me across the ocean. Hi, Laura. And then I was able to ask his body intuitively, well, what do you want to do about this? And I got the information, and we did it and cleared right up. So we're so much more than these physical bodies. And I think that really is an aspect that needs to be explored if you want to be a really strong, evolved leader. And so,
yes.
Yeah.
Your body is a tool. Your body is a tool that we forget to use to propel us forward. And earlier today, we were talking about, you were talking about energy, and it kept coming to mind about the mind-body connection. And what came to mind, MarBeth, was when I was winding down my leadership center. We went into business in 2001, 9 days before 9/11. So all of my coaching contracts dried up immediately, which was not a good thing when you have a 5-year lease. And then we kept going. And then in 2009, I was waking up every day, literally every single day for about 4 months with migraines. And one day I was at my sister's house, and I woke up with another migraine. And that's when I just said, that's it. This has to do with the center. I need to let it go. And that moment, I chose to close the center. We were struggling, the bottom fell out of the financial world, on and on and on. We'd done everything possible to keep the center afloat. And it was fascinating how the migraine stopped instantly.
Oh, our body to it. Really, we need it because our bodies love us. Speaking of your evolve, our bodies love us, and they definitely want to help us. And they have information that we're not able to access at this tip of the iceberg up here. So it's wonderful to learn how to access that information so that you have an edge.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, exactly. And what I would love to do is now introduce another Shift Maestro who has joined us, the amazing Laura Rubinstein. Laura, I am so glad you're here. I don't hear you, though.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, there you are. Okay. I am so glad you were able to make it today. She said to me, well, I can't make 3 o'clock. I went, can you make 4? And so we've been able to get you in here because it is so important that we introduce you to our audiences, because what you have to offer is huge. Another spiritual being who is just as connected as Cherie and MarBeth and Lois, who just left, and myself. And hopefully Carol is going to be able to make it. I know she's up to her eyeballs in a team meeting right now. So Laura, you are all about marketing and social media. I would love for you to introduce yourself to everybody and take it away.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. And I love the ideas of getting more into shifting our, in marketing, what we say with regard to shifting is it's not a matter of if the market is going to shift, it's when. So be prepared. So, when things happen in the world as a marketer, I know that it is normal. This is business as usual. If things are shifting, it's something's wrong. So I'm kind of the opposite of everybody else. And I embrace the changes and have been used to that. I mean, your story about the 2008-9 crash, what happened in my business was I was working with financial advisors, interestingly enough, working on marketing. This was before social media, except around 2005, 6, I'm getting on these different social networks. I'm just playing around. I'm not thinking about that as business until about 2006, 7, when I'm seeing marketers using this and I'm realizing, oh my gosh, everything I've ever done with my financial advisors and my other entrepreneurs in marketing is relationship marketing, right? I always talked about that. And what is social media? It's relationship marketing on steroids. And I'm like, oh, it was meant for me. This was built for me because social media is like the way we can level the playing field for the entrepreneur, the small business owner, the thought leader who doesn't have beaucoup bucks to spend on a Super Bowl ad, for example. But we can get on and get in front of our target markets strategically and start growing our businesses organically using social media. So I dove head in first. In 2007, I actually hired my first social media consultant to do some marketing for me. 2008, I got trained with Mari Smith and a whole bunch of other people. We were in her first graduating class of social media marketers. And I brought all the tools for my relationship marketing, added them to the social media space, and I've been doing it and running with it ever since.
And you are a master at it. You're a shift maestro.
Shift
You're a marketing maestro.
It's really interesting. I call myself a conductor of, like an orchestra of the different marketing pieces. And so I really relate to that phrase you've got there.
Yay. So, Laura, I'm curious. One of the things that we've been doing since we started this today is give a tidbit on a bit of advice that people can take with them today so that they can implement it right away and amplify a little bit more about what you're going to be sharing at the Shiftology Retreat on January 29th to the 31st.
The thing that's been coming up in the last couple of days for me on marketing is content. Now, people know they need to be writing blogs or putting up posts on social media, but don't post unconsciously. Post something remarkable, something of value, something people might even pay for, but you're giving it to them for free, like advice they would pay for, a tool they might pay for. But what if you could give it to them for free? Like today, I am the founder of Social Buzz Club. We'll be talking about how to grow your influence. This is an influencer marketing platform. And I gave away, I'm happy, we give away twice a month a free training. And we do that. You can go to socialbuzzu.com and get a free training twice a month, actually. And we do that and I bring in these amazing speakers and trainers to help you grow your business and for free, in hopes that you'll love my brand and you'll want to grow your influence and use our platform, right? So that's an example of how you can, collaborate with other people to even create content. It doesn't even have to be your own content.
Yeah. And that's key, what you just said. It doesn't have to be your own content. So many people I speak with are constantly, well, I don't know what to write. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to post. And you hit the nail on the head. It doesn't have to be yours.
It can be other people's remarkable content. Yes.
Mhm.
And you can share it. That's what Social Buzz Club allows you to do. And other people will share yours. This way you can take a piece, something you know is valuable. This is my second tip. Create one masterpiece of content and then repurpose the heck out of it. Take little slivers of it, make a graphic from it, make a video from it, make an article from it, take a quote from it, and lead back to this, what I call cornerstone piece of content.
Yeah, and people who come to the retreat are going to have the opportunity to get Social Buzz Club as part of our group mastermind that we're going to be introducing at the Shiftology Retreat. So it's really exciting that we're going to be able to integrate that in the mastermind program. So the Shiftology mastermind program. So I'm really, really excited because it's so juicy and meaty, and the SHIFT Maestros are really going to be able to help you amplify, use your word amplify your influence. You're going to be amplifying on so many levels. I absolutely love it. So, Laura, what is the one piece about social media that you absolutely love?
I love meeting new people. So many people are resistant to social media because it's noisy, it's negative, whatever their thought about it is. I invite you to get over it. In fact, I wrote a whole book about it. It's called Social Media Myths Busted, the Small Business Guide to Online Revenue. Whatever you're saying to yourself inside, that's like why you don't want to. But think about what you do love about networking in general. Like, it's social networks. These are called networks for a reason. It's about meeting people. And it's about, you have the opportunity not only to meet people, to connect with them, to build relationships with them, to have lifelong friendships with them. You never know. It's like people I've met on social media, I've never met in person. And then every once in a while I get the opportunity to meet them in person, and it's like magic, right? You never know what's going to happen out of that and how they're going to impact your life and how you're going to impact theirs. And so it's a magical space if we use it that way. In the book, I also talk about using social media for social good. And I want to see more people doing that and drowning out any negativity out there with the positivity. And I know so many people are dedicated to being positive on social media. And if you're one of them, keep it up, because we need you.
I am so glad you said that, Laura, because I literally had a conversation about that with a client today, because they were, talking about it being social mania, not social media, and so much negativity. They don't want to be associated with negativity. And my point was, from a strategic standpoint, and again, I'm focusing on decision making and his unique offering and his personality and relationship building and everything else, and the positive and going to content, right? The positive content and insights, that's exactly what's needed. Let's drown out that negativity. But it's going to take all of us to do it. It really is.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. I'm with you. Let's join. Who else is in the tribe? Come on, let's do it. Get out more.
Let's do it. And here's the really cool thing. Okay, right now you can come to the Shiftology Business Retreat, which is on the 29th to the 31st. I'm going to plug this puppy in. I need to plug the puppy in.
You're breaking up a little bit, Terry. So yeah.
All right.
That's better.
That's better. Okay. I need a plug. You see that on the bottom there? The Shiftology Business Retreat. If you go to shiftologyretreat.com, the tickets are super reasonable. 3 days of amazing training with these Shift Maestros. I mean, come on. It is $57 until the 16th. $57 until the 16th. After that, it goes to $97 and then $197 the following week. So right now until the 17th, it is only $57, where you can learn so much from these amazing entrepreneurs. They're fantastic. And you didn't catch this part, Laura. At the opening of the show, I started adding up how many years of wisdom and entrepreneurship we have between us, and it's over 200 years.
You make it sound very old, Terry.
Well, when you're in business I've been in business since 18. You've been doing this for 30 years. Cherie's been doing it forever. And Laura, I know you've been doing it forever. And with Carol, she's been doing it 15 years, and Lois has been 25. So it's like, Oh my gosh! I couldn't
Well, with
believe it.
the intuitive leadership focus, it really brings a whole new value to old souls, right? So
It sure does. It sure does. So for those of you who are just stepping in, the Shiftology is about. It's actually a 4-part evolution. You start as an entrepreneur. You then go into intuitive leadership, which is really what the Shiftology retreat is about, shifting entrepreneurs into intuitive leaders. And then from there, it's eventually getting into the practical business mystic realm. And that is where we are really getting strong on integrating the practical, tactical, and logical with the emotional, the energetic, the spiritual, and the intuitive. And then from there, we get into the shiftologist. So we can take a little bit to get to that shiftologist place. We are all of us here who are shift maestros. We are all practical business mystics. And what I will tell you is these practical business mystics or shift maestros are rock stars. Every single one of them. They're rock stars in their own realm. We have been brought together. I believe that spirit has brought us together in a very powerful, positive way. And we are here to we are here to serve you. And I just got a message from Carol that she just got out of her meeting and she's coming in. So I'm looking forward to interviewing you. Bringing her in. She just got out. Slack. She is the last Shift
Maestro.
Maestro. Yeah, so hopefully we can get her in here very, very soon. So I'm curious, what have you learned so far from these, what we've been in here, 60 minutes going into 75 minutes? What are you ladies seeing while we're waiting for Carol to come in?
I'm seeing a brilliant coalition of amazing, amazing people. And, under you are an amazing shiftologist, Terry. And you haven't even spoken about you.
Oh, I thought I did that. Okay. I thought I did that at the opening. Well, I brought these people together because I was guided to. And that's what I do. I'm all about intuition. As you see where I am sitting, I've got my angels on this side. I have my books on this side. I sit right in the middle of the practical, tactical, logical, emotional, energetic, and the spiritual, which you've heard me talk about quite a bit. And a very interesting thing happened, and that is every time I kept putting up a green screen, no matter what I did, whether it was the panel with the green screen, nothing, it wasn't working until somebody, and I forget who it was, said to me, Terry, your angels have your back. And all of a sudden I realized what was happening. They want to be seen. So they have my back so that I can help all of you with it. So it's just a follow through of energy. So have I always been this way? I've always been intuitive, but it wasn't with confidence, competence, and credibility. I would say something that was intuitive and then get smacked down. Say something that was intuitive and then get smacked. This was in business, because I was with a lot of folks who were very practical, tactical, and logical. So my background is law enforcement. That is what my degree is in. But I've been in business since I was 18. I've been in all kinds of businesses, multi-level marketing companies. I own my own manufacturing company where we built electrical control panels and baggage racks for the railroad industry. And what I did was, whoops, Carol's asking for the meeting. 222-444-062. Oops, that's not it. It's not. I don't think she realizes it's not Zoom.
It's not
Yeah, can one of you get into Slack and connect with her on Slack?
okay. I'll do that.
Thanks. That would be great. So I can finish the story. So where was I?
Let's see, where is it here?
Oh, my manufacturing company. We built electrical control panels and baggage racks for the railroad industry. And I got into manufacturing after I got out of my law enforcement career. And I was in all levels of law enforcement. When I was going into my business, the manufacturing company, I wanted to call it Transitions Limited. And my dad looked at me like I was nuts. He said, why do you want Transitions Limited? That is so woo-woo. And I went, because Dad, I'm in sales. Even though I'm the at the helm of this thing, I'm still all about relationships and marketing, and they would not allow me to call it Transitions Limited. I had to take my first name. It ended up being called Anico after my very first name, which is Anna. And that was just an example of how the people around me were squashing anything that had to do with intuition. So then I married the military. I was 31 years old. And all kinds of wild things kept happening. I'm not going to get into it here. But it was really, really wild things. And it taught me about the power of boundaries. It taught me how boundaries help. The lack of boundaries is what was the lesson. The lack of boundaries. And when I married my husband, who was in the Navy, I married him. He was already a senior officer. I really learned even more about leadership, but then I learned even more about myself. And little by little, 33 years later, here we are. And Carol is here. Yes, Carol.
Hi.
Hey, you got in. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And everybody, Carol Medenbrink, she is the relationship maestro. She is going to be working with all of us and being able to assist us in helping our relationships become really rock solid. So, Carol, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what it is you're doing, and we're giving a tip so that everybody can start to work with it right away. And what is it that you're going to be doing at the retreat? Giving you lots of questions all at once.
That's helpful. Basically, I am kind of what they call a behavioral scientist. I have been utilizing behavioral analytics for many years to help people better understand themselves, better understand others, how to communicate better, how to work together more effectively, put their differences aside, how to build stronger teams around them based upon their behavioral profiles. So I've been doing this for over 15 years. I have, my background is criminal justice. I was a juvenile probation officer to start my career, and it's just kind of evolved now into more of a individual focus on the outside and more, corporate world scenarios. So it's been a lot of fun. I hope to be able to promote, really the importance of understanding your relationships are key in any scenario. And because we're all human beings, and the one thing I can tell you that's in your DNA is that you want to be able to bond with people. And so what hopefully will be demonstrated during the retreat is just finding out what is your DNA, what's your makeup, and how are you projecting yourself to others so that you can better understand how others are actually perceiving you, how you can relate, kind of read other people's behavioral styles, and therefore quickly adapt so that you can build that relationship and not shut it down from, because what is it? It's seconds that you can make that first impression on somebody, and it can either make you or break you. So having these tools, so to speak, and better understand how to be relationship oriented and really understanding yourself and others can be another step to advance your success in life, whether it's personal or professional.
And Carol and I work together. First of all, we both have law enforcement backgrounds. Who would have thunk it? And one of the things that Carol and I, over the years together, have worked on working with profiles and helping people to really understand themselves. And one of the things about entrepreneurs is we're not always clear on how we present ourselves, which is what you were talking about, Carol. And when you learn about yourself, you have power. And what I will share is the first time I got my profile report, And that was about 27 years ago. I've been with TTI since 1994, which is who Carol works with and the profiles that I use. And I got my profile back, and I'm reading my profile, and I'm looking at this thing going, that's not me. That's not me. That's not me. Oh, that's definitely not me. Oh, that's me. And I'm highlighting this thing. And my husband was at sea. My girls were asleep. I'm sitting in my den in my big gray stuffed chair and going, oh, this is a bunch of malarkey. Anyway, and I put it away. 2 weeks later, I go back. But the girls are asleep. And I go back and I read this thing. And my jaw started to drop. Because within the 2 weeks, from the time I first got the report and the time that I was reading it again, everything that I had said that was not me, check, 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 check. And it was an eye-opening experience that blew my mind and shook me to my core. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me because it helped me to understand myself in a way that I was better able to communicate with the people who were around me. And Carol has amplified and has taught me over the years. So this has been a long time, since 1994, that I've been working with these profiles. And every day I learn something new and something more about these profiles and the value that they bring. And we're going to be playing with the profile at the retreat. And Carol is going to be directing that part of it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So Carol, what is the one thing when it comes to these behavior profiles that you find that people walk away with loving the most?
They love the accurate, and they love the fact that they learned something about them. Just demonstrated that they didn't even realize. And it makes them stop and think. The other thing that they realize is that, I have parents that go, oh my gosh, I've been doing a disservice to my children because I think they ought to be just like me, and they're not. They're different. And it's okay to be different. It's just that we all have strengths. There's no right, there's no wrong. It's just that we're unique. And it's understanding what that uniqueness is and how to pull it out of people, how to appreciate it, how to respect it. That's what I love. People walk away with almost newfound confidence and competence that they start to actually be able to engage with people at a different level. I know for myself, I am not a people person. And I didn't realize that I wasn't smiling. And there's just little small things that you can do to actually be more engaging, to be more well. And it was just that moment that just smile more, and that opens you up and makes people want to, approach you. You become more approachable, warmer, more well received. And that's what I love about these assessments, is that they're just they're scientifically proven, they're simple, anybody can use them at any level. It doesn't matter what your career is, doesn't matter whether you're a stay-at-home mom, high school student. It's just really kind of unearthing, kind of mining down deep to find the true gems of each person. That's what I love, is just getting somebody to understand and really being able to take those strengths and then apply them in their life to be more fulfilled, more successful strengths.
Well, thank you so much, Carol, for sharing. And remember, she just said confidence. Well, isn't that a word that each and every one of us has used today? So I just want to thank all of you for being here. We have shared such juiciness with the audience. Cherie starting us off with your amazing Biz Maestro and the tools that you're going to be teaching. MarBeth, you're going to be getting into the energy side of it. Laura, you're going to be getting into social media marketing. Carol in relationships. Lois in sales. And I'm going to be getting into resilience and a few other juicy things the day of the retreat. So we want to thank all of you. I want to honor everybody's time. I said it was going to be 90 minutes. We have reached 90 minutes. And again, we would love to see you at the Shiftology Business Retreat. The website is down below, shiftologyretreat.com. It's from January 29th to the 31st. And we would love to have you come so that we can help you amplify your business.
And it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be
awesome.
It's going to be awesome. So on behalf of the Shift Maestro team, I'm Terry Wilderman. I want to thank you all for being here. This was an absolute blast. And we look forward to seeing you at the Shiftology Retreat. To your success, everybody. Take good care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.